we always like to pray, then we keep all we have decisive. Father in heaven, we thank you for the privilege to be here today and pray this meeting with all prosperity in everything we do in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, so without much ado, we will take, first of all, there's an order we'll take a safety moment. Then after the safety moment, I will introduce all the people who will be on the high table, and then we'll follow the sequence in that order. So my name is Modu. I'm the assistant coordinator of the Port Harcourt chapter. So I'd like to invite all of you once again. So maybe you can go ahead to to your neighbor to your left and right and also welcome them to this meeting. I'm sure you're going to one of the great meetings we have here today because we have a very interesting topic that will be presented. So online, we have Mr. Oluwafemi Adeleke, and he will be giving us a safety moment right now. So, Mr. Adeleke, can you confirm you can hear us? And then once you can hear us, you can go ahead and mute and then speak and present your safety moment.
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. Okay, just 1 minute. Okay. So thanks for the opportunity to be here today. I don't take it for granted. My name is Oluwafemi Adeleke and I work with CHIZEA. Okay. And today I'll be talking just briefly on the topic we'll call background check, or what they call due diligence. And we're talking about, I'll be presenting on the topic for this brief, the hidden dangers of hiring domestic staff. I want to believe that we work in organizations and every time before you bring somebody in, the due diligence about who they are is done, and also why they are still there to understand if they've changed. But now we are delving more into domestic staff. So why does due diligence matter? The question is, do you know who is working with you in your home? Your cook, do you know them really well? Do you know your driver really well? And if we say in the office, if we still go to digress a bit, do you know your staffs really well? Or you think it's the one you recruited at the moment? So let's take a look at this news briefly, just to see what happened when a driver that was recruited by someone, let's see the crime he committed, just briefly.
Ever imagined employing a driver and the next day he disappears with your car? Or your car breaks down and the mechanic is recommended only for him to flee with your car? Senior correspondent Ivy Kano has more on these scenarios.
It was a short briefing with interesting cases. One is a driver who police say made away with his employer's car a day after he was employed. Another is about a gang made up of 2 civilians and 2 dismissed soldiers.
We've successfully arrested a robbery gang through our tactical team based in Surulere. There are 4 in number, and 2 of them are dismissed soldiers. One was dismissed in 2014, the other in 2017. They've snatched a total of 13 cars. We have 2 here recovered. We also have somebody here who was employed as a driver. The same day he resumed, he went away with the car. Interestingly, he dedicated the car in church the following Sunday.
Okay, so as you heard from the video, driver stole the car the same day was employed. And he also had the effort, the boldness to go and dedicate the car in church. You see how okay, someone's hand is raised. Okay. Can you hear me, Mamadou? See, your hand is raised.
Please go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead, Femi.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. So, in recent time, there have been an increasing reports of crimes that are committed by domestic staff. And this gives us the reason to say, okay, those guys around us, I will also not leave the office space, by the side. So all workers, it shows us that we must understand or identify who they are. Pre-recruitment and even post-recruitment, have they changed? There anything they are up to? What's the difference between who you recruited and who you have in-house now? You see, statistics as far back as 2022 by the Nigerian Police Force shows an increasing number of domestic violence, crime, and it's increasing by 25% just in 2022. And by the data we conducted at CHIZEA, we identified that 75% of respondents have experienced or know someone that have experienced a domestic-related, staff-related incident. And some of the data that we've pulled, for example, September 5, residents in Alfred Gardens Estate here in Lagos, here in Oregon, one of the residents was abducted by his driver, and he also extorted money from him. He hid him in the car, locked the house, hid him in the car, passed through the security point, and left. Also, we had the story of the justice, Ajimogobi Asota, that was murdered by 3 domestic staff. So I tell people, don't think, oh, I work in an oil and gas, I have money, or I am rich, I am wealthy, I am this, I don't have any problem, I am okay, nothing will come, I have security. Now, do you know who is working with you? So even Lagos State government did a survey that showed that 70% of respondents have experienced theft or property damage by domestic staff. Also, the Nigerian Civil and Security and Civil Defense Corps also brought their own data. In June 17, 2024, a businesswoman returned to see that her shop is empty as the sales girls have sold everything without her knowledge. This is a picture that was shared in the WhatsApp group of a cook, a domestic staff that was disengaged. What was his crime? He said he drugged his boss and he's been disengaged. And you see that these things are happening quite often. Recently, we had someone that also reached out last week that he bought the younger sister a car, a Jeep. The younger sister got married. And before you know it, the younger sister gave the vehicle to a driver. And we all know what is happening in Nigeria. There's traffic. I mean, there's scarcity of fuel. Oh, go get us fuel. From there, the driver disappeared. We need to provide, to provide peace of mind for ourselves and our family. We need to ensure that we understand and know who we are dealing with. Recruit the right agency to help us get the background check, implement it, install CCTV, monitor the activities of our domestic staff, because it is key. We need to always stay vigilant. At CHIZEA, we have to do this background check, so you can always reach out to us. Your home or your office, your sanctuary, protect it and do the due diligence. Thank you very much for listening.
Let's put a hand one more time for that safety moment. Thank you very much, Sharon. It's an important one. We've had cases locally of people who have been affected by this. So it's something that we need to pay attention to when we employ the message staff. So thank you very much. In addition to that, for anyone who may need to use the restroom, so the restroom is located just right off the staircase. So when you leave this room to your left, the doorway in which you came, you take the stairs to your right, you go upstairs and then turn to your left, you will find the restroom for those in the Hotel Presidential building. That's where the restroom is. So once again, we would like to welcome all of you who are here present and all our online guests. Thank you for joining us for today's technical meeting. So without much ado, I'd like to invite those who will be on the high table. We always have a table that is higher than other tables, just to give some sort of respect to some persons today. All right, I will begin first of all by the person which is location for us. Is a wonderful person. She's smiling. She is the MD of Asset Services. She'll tell you more about herself, and my chairman here will introduce her a bit more. She is none other than Mrs. Dr. Mrs. Edith Akpo. Please let's put your hands together as we go through. The high table would like to invite the rep for TotalEnergies here today, who is the sponsor for this meeting. So I'd like to invite Mr. Sheikh again, who is the third on my list is my own boss in the NAPE here in Port Harcourt. He is none other than the energetic Dr. Magnus Kanu. Please welcome him as all right, as other legendary persons arrive, we'll let you know. My eyes have been reminded there's somebody legendary here in the Port Harcourt chapter. And most of my for those who know him, when I came to know Port Harcourt, being a pillar in the Port Harcourt chapter. Please, I'd like to invite to the high table as well, Dr. Emo. He has been spearheading NAPE Port Harcourt for many years until Dr. Magnus took the reins. So, sir, you're most welcome to today's meeting. All right, so we'll go to the next item. To take the opening remarks and the special mention of key corporate participants, I would like to invite right now our Port Harcourt chairman of the NAPE, Dr. Magnus Kanu, to the microphone. Please, once again, put your hands together for him.
The APCC and that. It is very much doing this. So thank you very much for the opportunity, and thank you for your kind introduction. Well, I'd like to begin by saying one welcome to everyone. You know, I don't like speaking my address for today, so that I don't forget key information I need to pass. I scribble it, so just permit me to go through it. So both everyone virtual and physical, participating at this beautiful meeting today, and particularly those of you who defy the rising cost of transportation to be here today. Just to say we and we recognize that and that is it and operationalism. At the risk of making a subordination address, which is not what I'm trying to do. I just want to appreciate and express our appreciation for that. And I can see representatives from our corporate members, we have people from Force and the services there, and they represented. And we have Sterling Group, we have AVO, we have Unicel, we have TotalEnergies, we have Shell, we have Volvo Services. There are a couple of others we just mentioned in the course of the event today, but just to say. And of course, people from the academy, also the universities are here. We deeply appreciate you. Thank you for staying true with us, all year round. I would also like to, at this point, recognize our able NAPE president, the president-elect, and other key members of the ESCO. And of course, members of the advisory council who collected says we do see you and we acknowledge your presence and appreciate it. This is the last business/technical meeting for NAPE chapter in the year 2024. And of course, the topic for discussion today, Chukwuka is very much ready. You can already tell there's going to be a wild meeting today. Brace up for it. As a chapter, we had a very great 2024. It's solid in terms of performance, starting with the visit of the President NAPE and Mr. Abiodo Kunjobi and the team of ESCOs. That visit really helped us to rekindle our connection with our very prized veterans, and their participation from that visit has enriched our technical meetings, and we are very grateful. This chapter, NAPE chapter, is arguably notable for the best technical content. I can tell you that. But if you disagree with me, you can go to court. I'm not testing. We have increased our active membership all the year, and our YP section it's been ever vibrant. So there is no dull moment for our chapter. Yes, and so today I would like to sincerely thank our sponsors, TotalEnergies. You made today possible. Give them a round of ovation again, please. And I must place some more words to you. You've been a solid support to NAPE chapter. Year on year, every year you make sure you register your name, and we are very grateful. Thank you. And with our sponsor recognition, I'm sure you can take that to your management, and you know that we are very grateful, and we look forward to your continuing sponsorship in the coming years. Thank you. Just give a round of applause again. And thanks to Mr. Chukwuka, who is flying from Lagos. Permit me, I'm not going to do this again this year. So, Mr. Chukwuka, who had to fly from Lagos, took out his press to come in to talk to us. We are very grateful. Thank you. Thank you. Just about a week ago, I reached out to my sister and my friend, Dr. Mrs. Edith Akweke, the managing director of Asset Group of Companies, and asking her to chair today's occasion. She said, let me look at my calendar. My schedule was going to be, she was able to rejig it and accommodated us today. We are very grateful. Thank you for your support. Finally, this is NAPE election period. NAPE election, and it's important I highlight it again, even though in the closing, we're also going to flash some information around that. As one of the strongest chapters in Nigeria, we want our members to participate fully in everything we do. Please, I'm going to encourage you to exercise your franchise, choose your executive members, committee rather. If you don't know the candidates, we'll flash through them today. But at the risk of asking you to vote, which I'm not doing, is a disclaimer, we have one of the candidates here, Dr. Adekunle Soblabo, who is going for the editor-in-chief, is the current incumbent. But just to say that one of the candidates here, that's not saying vote for him or not vote for him, right? So if you're trying to get introduced to the candidates, I'm also going to run through all of them quickly so that you see, I'll make up your mind very quickly. So in conclusion, finally, please do enjoy yourselves, participate actively, and at the end of the day, courtesy of TotalEnergies, so with that, may God bless once again to NBCC. Thank you very much.
A big round of applause for our coordinator of the chapter. All right. So at this moment, we'll go into the details, technically speaking. But before we do that, I would like to introduce once again the chairperson of this occasion with some details, and then she herself will introduce the speaker for today, and then we'll proceed with the presentation. So, who is Dr. Edith Akweke? She is a renowned physicist with expertise in petrophysics and reservoir property estimation. She started her career as a core analyst in 1993 and works in both technical and managerial positions in various organizations. Notable among them were Collaboratory Nigeria and Location Sample Services Nigeria Limited. Now, as the managing director of ANSET Integrated Services Limited, she guided the company and raised the standards into obtainable levels of certification. Currently, the company is pioneering the use of digital rock imaging technology for geological sample analysis in the Nigerian oil and gas industry. Edith has also been involved in academics for over 10 years, training and developing manpower for the oil and gas industry. Her current engagements in the educational sector include lecturing and training postgraduate students of the Institute of Petroleum Studies. Now, for some of us in Total, the Institute of Petroleum Studies is an institute that Total partners with the University of Port Harcourt, and she lectures there. She also lectures at the Geological School in the University of Port Harcourt. So Edith Akwege also serves as the managing director in other arms of the group, such as Answer Diagnostics and Pan Consortium. Edith is a certified safety professional and a team leader for excellence, experienced in effectively leading and managing teams to achieve set goals and objectives. And she's happily married with children. So please, I'd like you to welcome Dr. Edith Akwege as she speaks for a moment, and then she introduces the speaker for today.
Okay, thank you very much. I will start on the existing protocol that he has laid in his first speech, and I would give more like a welcome address, welcoming everybody to this meeting, those online, those that are visual, and those of us that are here. We want to say thank you to the distinguished members, the association have introduced, and he didn't add that I'm a member of the association. He did say that. He should have said that.
As a constant.
Yes. Okay. So today we stand on the association stands at the foremost forefront of all the other associations, I would say, for yes. So in Nigeria, our association remains committed to promoting excellence. Set of it, that's why we're here. Excellence, innovation, and sustainability in our industry. So in this meeting that we have gathered here, we are going to be discussing key issues. We say thank you to Total for sponsoring this last meeting, and we know they are going to sponsor more next year. I got a link that they do one meeting per year for Lagos and Port Harcourt, but we know it's going to be 2 or 3 now next year. They've done so, it's not new. So we're hoping that that will be the case for next year. So we're going to be addressing very key issues, share knowledge, and explore opportunities that will shape the future of the petroleum industry. So as we gather here today, I implore you, please take this meeting very seriously, because our nation is going through a global energy transformation and a lot of issues. We're facing complex challenges and opportunities. But from the trainings and the presentations today, I believe that we're going to be going out with something that's going to benefit the nation, Nigeria as a whole. Our association provides a platform for us to share knowledge, which is what we're doing. So the best practices in the industry, we're also going to be sharing new things. So over the next few hours, I know we'll be engaging in our presentation. I'm going to introduce the presenter shortly. So discussions will take place. Networking will also take place. We are here to also network. So I encourage you to actively participate. Listen, take note of your questions, ask questions, share your experiences, and let us all leverage collectively to address the challenges that are and the opportunities that are there. So, but before I introduce the speaker, I would like once again to say thank you to Total for sponsoring this occasion. I'll say thank you to the organizing committee as well for putting this together. Tireless efforts from our able team, coordinator, and everyone that has made this meeting a success. So I'd like to say thank you. So on these notes, I would quickly want to talk to them, give the biography of the speaker. We have Chukwuka, CHIZEA. If I ask him to stand, will it be too much?
No.
So as he's standing and you're looking at him, I'll quickly run through his profile. Chukwuka CHIZEA is a geoscientist with over 17 years of experience, spanning exploration and development, geophysics. He holds a BSc honors in applied physics, geophysics offshore, 2004, and an MBA 2024. So Chukwuka served as a junior explorationist geophysicist, in the Deep Offshore Exploration Department of Harcourt Petroleum Nigeria Limited, EPNL, between 2006 and 2007. Development geophysicists in both Total headquarters in Po in France, and Total Exploration and Production Nigeria Limited, TEPNG. In, forgive me, in 2007 and 2010. Deep exploration departments of TEPNG between 2011 and 2014. Senior explorationist geophysicist in West of Shetland New Ventures Department in Total EP in the UK between 2014 and 2017. I thought there will be a round of applause at this time. Senior reservoir geophysicist in Total EPNG between 2017 and 2019, and head of geology and geophysics in TotalEnergies TEPNG from 2019 to date. He received several undergraduate awards in 2003 and 2004, the Ocean Energy International Postgraduate Scholarship Award in 2005, the NAPE YB Mentor and Instructor Award in 2018, and the prestigious Beta Gamma Sigma BGS Award for Academic Excellence during his MBA in 2023 from Lagos Business School. It is another resounding round of applause. You have a very He's a member of the Nigerian Association of Petroleum Explorationists, NAPE, Nigerian Mining and Geoscience Society, NMGS, the Society of Exploration Geophysicists, SCG. His research interest has been focused on the integration of multidisciplinary data for static reservoir and model updates, identifying and maturing infill well opportunities using high-angle drains in brownfields to prolong field production. I'd like you to finally put your hands together for him as we invite him. Thank you. Yes. I think you can take off from now, or do we need this? Yeah.
Good morning. Yeah, good morning, everyone. It's not so good. Thanks for this opportunity to make this presentation to you. So the topic of today is going to be on body seismic as we have applied it to the Akpo field. I would like to crave your indulgence at this point. I have been told I have only 30 minutes, and I prepared for way longer than that. So I'm going to be super fast, but I'll be very much available to engage with anybody else, just in case you want some more clarification. So let's jump right at it. I'll go through this outline, more 5 goals, a quick introduction for I presume some people are not familiar with the subject. Give the background of the regional development setting, a brief field description, let you know where we are in terms of field development status, and we'll spend more time on the book 5, which is the application of body on Akpo. So, body, the simplest way to introduce this is by what I have on the slide. Imagine you're taking a picture at some point in the past. Here we have a picture on the left, the top left, of the Pope Castle, shot in 1984 by the second person. And much later, in 2003, that same area was photographed. What we do in 4D, we just try to take the difference of this kind of image, and by so doing, we are able to highlight what has changed. So I would like us to relate this to what we do in terms of 4D seismic. Here you could liken the pictures to the seismic data. You could liken the people who have taken these pictures to seismic contractors. And you could also liken the quality of the image from time to time, improvements in technology. And while you do this, it's important to note that you must keep some certain things constant. So for this, the zoom, the angle at which this picture was taken have been kept constant. Once respected that, you'll be able to make a difference. So we'll proceed. maybe give a bit more detail. I would like to point out at this point that 4D is not necessarily just what you do with big data. If you have acquired a 1D data over time, then you have a 4D 1D. The same thing applies to 2D, and of course, applies to 3D. The image I have on the top right shows basically what we do. We have a field, we produce oil, gas from one well, ejects water, gas from another well, and all these things we do bring in a lot of changes or dynamic changes within the reservoir. And we want to be able to track these changes that we have made, because it gives us a lot of insights on how to develop the field of our production from the field. The two sites, the traces you see there, it's basically the specification of what goes on. We have a cyclic trace at the time, which we call the baseline. And in the future, when you come to do cyclic again, you realize that things have changed. In terms of amplitude, for example, the amplitude here, also, you see there's a change in the amplitude at this point. And not only that, you can also have a change in position, the time at which you have to record that, in addition to the amplitude. So there's an extra step, which we call working internally in Total, that helps you take the monitor data to match it to the baseline data, and that whatever you do to that data to match it gives you the data what we call an anomaly, and that anomaly is what we interpret. And you can have some good images like what you see below here, 1D, 2D, and more especially map. So we have a lot of maps that we're going to be sharing today. But before we do that, it's good for us to talk about the rich database we have in Akpo. So we have a base 19 data set. So the baseline Seismic was acquired in 1998. And we have 4 monitors. The monitor was acquired 3 years after the first oil. Monitor 2, 3 years after monitor 3 years after monitor 2. Only for 1 hour speed of why. But the point is, we do have quite a rich database. Just at the bottom numbers of what I put down on the slide, it's just to say that we have more or less managed to keep the parameter the same. One other important thing that we did was for the base 98, because we realized we're going to have obstructions of the field due to the presence of the FPSO at the buoy and all side of things. We had kind of simulated an undershoot for the base 98, such that every other monitor had conventional streamer and the dual vessel operation undershots, so that you can easily match the data from time to time. Okay, one other key information is that sometimes we try to smart, but sometimes we also find ourselves when we try to do that. In monitor 1, we didn't have an undershoot. And one or two images that will show monitor 1 and how noisy it was, because you can't really match it with the monitor because it doesn't have, sorry, the baseline, because you don't have an undershoot. And also at the time of monitor 4, we had a active drilling going on. What that meant was that we had an extra obstruction which we didn't plan for, and it also would affect the quality of the data. Just to also mention that monitor 2 and monitor 3 are food processing, but the images you see on monitor 4 on this slide are very fast, so they're not very clean, but in any case, we are still able to get some vital information from them. So I'll just start this just to say that very elastic kind of acquisition configuration that we deployed during the undershoot, like we have here the inline push mode and also other kind of modes. On the right hand side, just a classic processing flow that we have deployed. But I have highlighted two sequences in green, just to say that because we normally would go through the fast track routes and also the full processing routes, we are not able to do a lot of the things on the processing sequence. We kind of skip some things, or we kind of add some more on the full processing route. So quickly, this is basically what you can all so yeah, it's normally a combination of one vessel and a single vessel acquisition before the data into the processing house. By the way, I'd like to also acknowledge that we have the people who are processing appointed for in the room, and they're doing quite a good job. And well, we get the data from the processing center. We have two routes we will be pushed for. One is the fast track route, which more or less will take us about 4 to 5 months from the last shot. And one is the full processing route. But for the fast track route, we also try to get 2 different kinds of elevation. One being acoustic elevation, which normally gives us pseudo sats and pseudo pressure data sets before we go ahead and start interpreting. On the other routes, it's a lot longer. It takes about 12 to 15 months. So it's good for you to do a lot of planning and signing of this while you want to engage in your 40 projects. So a bit of regional. So Akpo is a large anticlinal structure, about 15 square kilometers, includes by shield diaphysiology, and it's the translational structure of Niger Delta. On the top right, we have typical Niger Delta technical belts that you probably used to. So on this cross section from north to south, you see we are sitting along this profile. So I'll quickly jump to the field description, and you see I have sitting 3 holes, geology, fluid, and also development scheme. So just to talk about some few points, we have 6 reservoirs developed in Akpo. Here we call them R1 to R6. R1 being the youngest, R5 being the oldest, but R6 is the latest one that we have just developed. Most of the reservoirs are developed by water injection, while 2 reservoirs being R6 and R3 are developed with gas injection. Below here we have a schematic of the sedimentary layout. Some of the reservoirs are kind of in the low-based area as pointed to this here, and while the younger ones are in the kind of channel domain. In terms of fluid, we have one that's saturated crystal fluid, pressures in the range of about 320 bars, very good condensate quality, 45 to 50 API. And in terms of development scheme, we have an FPSO that can hold about 2 million barrels. We have 4 water injection loops and 1 gas source loop. A total of 53 wells, and the split in terms of oil producers, water injectors, and gas injectors are here. And you can see that we have a resounding number of infill wells. So these are wells that we never planned from the beginning, that one way or the other, by 4D or whatever it is, we have matured those wells, developed those wells, and they have contributed to the production of Akpo field. So in terms of our development status, quite a busy slide I must admit, but I'll put this arrows here just to mark the point at which we have acquired data. So these are the points where we have our monitors. So monitor 1 is this time. Monitor 2 was at 2012. Monitor 3 at 2015. Monitor 3 at 2018, and the last monitor at 2015. You can see that we have used this data to influence the drilling of some of the MVP wells, and also, most importantly, the infill wells. Now to what we do on Akpo field. So here, R5 has got 3 units, upper, middle, and lower, but you cannot separate the middle and lower seismically, so we know the middle and lower, we call it really low. What we know is that it's all in communication, despite being faulted. So what we have observed, or the way we have developed this field, is by having or this reservoir level rather, is by having 2 flank injectors called the R5 I1 and I2. And we have all the producers. Here we have the P1 and P2. By the time we got to the monitor ward, you can see that we began to see some peripheral water lines. You can see a lot of homes here like I attested to in the beginning because of the no ownership. This was supposed to be an ownership area. By M2, we see that that water was also increasing around the ring. And by M3, you see also that some of the wells have been flooded. For example, the R5P1 have been flooded. And by M4, you can see that almost the entire reservoir is completely flushed. You know, painful, yes, it means you're going to lose this reservoir in terms of production, but the good thing is for you to see water there, it means you're taking all the oil. Not necessarily all the oil, but at least a sizable amount of the oil. And for this field, or for this reservoir level, we have recorded over 60% recovery factor, and that is quite very good for what the field being developed by water injection. You typically don't get as high as this for many water fields or many water developed fields. So we use body to kind of track our sweep efficiency, and from time to time we optimize the positioning of wells while we do that. So just also mention that, for example, the R5P3 was a well that was drilled before the entry, and that was because we had seen that this area is not being properly drained, and really helped in a lot of the oil. And most of what's probably remaining in this level has still been touched by. Another example is how we have used it to make the producer well. So here showing, and here actually is our upper unit 1. And I'm settling this part here because at the time of N2, we observed that we saw an overpressure down here. There's a well that I can call R1UI3, which is targeting a reservoir level just below this. And I just kind of put it with these dots because it's not at this level, which was injecting in here for several years. And as a result of that injection, we realized that it was overpressuring this unit because it's connected. So we tracked this overpressure over time. We saw that it still remained at the time of TotalEnergies. And the simple analogy is if you're able to see a flood anomaly, it means there's reservoir. And if the reservoir is supposed to contact, it means carbon. So by that simple analogy, we planned an infill well, which was drilled sometime after M3, and we were able to tap track or take what's it called, the hydrocarbons that's in that zone. So the point here is, didn't have the 4D, we probably would have missed this opportunity. And just to give some flavor to this, I think this well was sanctioned, and today the well has gone way almost 100% of and the water cost is just about 40%. So it means it can be beyond water. So again, thanks to the form. Now let's look at some sections. Other kind of things we derive from this. This is going through one of the reservoirs. Here R2 reservoir, and you see that with the 4D, we are able to confirm some of the things we know. For example, the information we got from MBT, and you will see that the water rights are kind of very consistent with these values that we've gotten. So it's like a confirmation to let us know that we have a big of contacts. Again, we also have an idea of what's connected to what. The interesting thing here is this well here encountered oil in all 3 levels. And while we had produced for a while, we realized that the aquifer was responding to the south, the somewhere here. So this well hadn't been drilled at that time. With this response that we had seen, meant that there was some communication between this producer and this area, and that informed us to go and put in an injector well, which we have drilled here. You will see that with the other with other monitors, you can see that the water had risen a lot more by the time we monitoring. And again, at monitor 4, remember I told you that it's for the fast track data set, so not so clear, but in any case, you can see that a lot more water heading towards this producer. But what was also important is we noticed that while the water had been rising in these 2 units, it never rose in the shower unit. And instead, we are seeing a different anomaly here, which is an overpressure signal. And by virtue of that, even as late as 2024, many years after the flood had commenced, we are still able to identify infill opportunities. So this is an infill opportunity we are doing now, and hopefully in 2025 it will be great. Just to put some context to this could hold in the neighborhood of 3.5 to 4 million barrels. So this is significant. So showing this area of interest here in map view. So this is the map of the reservoir of interest. And I'm going to superimpose before the anomaly on top. You can see here, as at this time, there was no 4D anomaly. As at this time, in the M3, we have some anomaly in the northern part. You also see the split that goes on here. The image is not so clear, but there's a channel plug that runs through this, which kind of tells us that channel plug is baffling. So it means that even in this southern part where we are planning infill well, we have a channel plug running. It means we have to plan a well that goes across that channel plug to ensure we have exposure on the other side, and we have a very good drain of the reservoir. And by M4, coming from the fact that we see that the water is only using this little, and everything above this is overpressure, and that's available in fuel. All right, so for time's sake, please tell the story as this slide here. So it's another reservoir called the R4, and we had kind of planned. I'm also trying to use this example to underscore the importance of also having infill injectors. They are a lot more difficult to sell to management because they don't have direct, volumes associated with them. But you can see the importance of that injector. So as at this time, wasn't renewed. We are in part of the heavy support, and this is the well that's supposed to tap into the R4B2. So this R4B2 was begging for support. So we had planned the injector well, which we drilled from somewhere here and tapped into the reservoir here. And by M4, you can see we have tracked that we have a lot of water in the area here, which means that we have really done a lot of sweep into the R4B2. So it's very important to also try to sell injector wells because it will be a good way to encourage or enhance the production you have from different reservoir levels. Now, I'm going to give another example of a well that we canceled. So not only do you suggest development wells or injector wells, sometimes there are wells that you have in mind or you are very complete about this well, but the timing of the body is very hard. You need to make sure you have that information well in advance before you mobilize your rig. And this was one opportunity we're hoping to really verify. It's supposed to be draining this part of the reservoir up here. There was a well that was drilled in R4I1 approved reservoir, but also water bearing. But we noticed that by entry, some water had risen, and the analogy was simple. If you have water or a change in the reservoir, which is water in the reservoir, it means that there was some other fluid there that was different from water. So it means that we had a carbon there, and we had planned the well that was going to tap in through here. But by the time we got our M4 data sets, we realized that almost 40% of it had been flushed. So it means that some of that well is tapping from that reservoir, and there's no need to spend that money to drill the infill well. So it's not good in saying that we lost that opportunity, but it's also good from the point of view that we save in the well that would have been not needed. So that's a section going to with our 4D. So I'm going to superimpose the 4D next But here I'm showing you the reservoir. So we have this reservoir here well identified by this well, and another one below here, or two below here, identified by this well. And this was the reservoir of interest in which you can see we're really going for the bigger potatoes now. The big objects have all been taken, so we're really scrutinizing for very little things. And by the time you put in the 4D play, you see a good connection path between this reservoir and the main body. So it means that that reservoir is being connected. Even though you're not able to see the connection points in conventional siting, but even with the 15 data set or the 40 data set, you can see the connection points between that reservoir and other parts of the reservoir. And it means that all of the wells, all wells are going to be higher in the structure connected to this resource. That's a good story. Water shut off. So typically, when you want to do a water shut off, you would more or less need to run a PLC. So here, the first time in the Gulf of Guinea, we were able to do a water shut off operation without running a PLC, and it was successful. So you will see that this reservoir is one, or this well is one that has this reservoir here and goes into the deeper one. And by the time we had acquired our M3, we saw that the water had reached this well. So this operation is one that allows us to insert a plug between these two reservoirs and stop the water coming from here. So here are some images from the some production data that we had at the time before this water operation and afterwards. So you see that we had our water as high as almost 60% at this time, and when we did the water shut off, we brought it down to about 30%. And again, you can see the jump we got in production. So a lot of good insights we got it from 4D, and also made cheap operation by eliminating the cost of the PLC, and at the same time, also not putting the well and this, because sometimes these PLC operations are not very successful. You could have a two stocking pool and all that kind of stuff. So a very good example here of what we are responding to do in Akpo. Now, we've talked about a lot of good stories. We've also had some bad experiences, and that's one of them that I want to talk about here. So there's this well here, the R5, and by the time we got our entry, we had seen that water was approaching the well. But what was surprising here was that this was the entire reservoir interval between this pink and brown horizon, but the water was preferentially lying on top. You know, we didn't really discount this. We within the geology and the physics space understood and did a bit of digging, and that's why I have this figures here. So we took a look at all the wells and the reservoir, and we saw that the reservoir, which is the middle reservoir here, has got more better reservoir properties than the lower one, and as such, water will take a part of this resistance, and we professionally went through this middle reservoir. And you notice also that the water rise was faster from this injector well compared to the other one. And we had predicted that this well was going to die very soon. Yes, it did happen. The well died. Water got to the well, but we also felt it would be very smart. Like the example we gave before, we wanted to do like another water shut off because people felt, oh, it's water goes with below gravity and all sorts of new things that we spoke at that time. And even though we told them, well, we don't think this is right, an implementation of sort of the lower unit will not help us. We went ahead to do that, open up the lower zone, and despite that activity, you can see that the production that came afterwards was very little by the well time again. So it means that we should also then trust our forming a lot more. And it's also a call for action for us, the scientists. Sometimes we get a lot of, we get overshadowed by our reservoir engineering colleagues. I encourage you to speak up more and let them trust the data that we have. Yeah, so this is coming towards the end of the presentation now. It's quite a busy slide, but the point I'm just trying to make with this slide is that we also do a lot of integration before we go ahead to update our static models or our dynamic models, and before they bring a lot of insights. And you'll see that, for example, yes, we know this reservoir is connected think I talked about it in the beginning, be it in the upper or in the below, it's all connected, but we also want to know the points of communication. So all those structural parts of communication on how things related needs to be captured. Basically, trying to capture the heterogeneity in the reservoir, and for the use a lot of insight in terms of doing that. We also, kind of juxtapose this information with simple, synthesis information or data, create single step blocks and see how things are related, and we are able to identify the parts where the water, or the structural parts where the water is going through. So here I'm showing some arrows in how the water had moved, all these panels, sometimes on them around the waterhead and back into other panels. You can see the step that goes across here. It means something. It means that these faults are kind of playing a role in the dynamic history of the field. And we do our best to try to understand and capture this. And what is giving us a lot of information with respect to that. The same thing for the other well and how things are going. So you can see all these arrows that we put in here. You can see how tortuous and how what a complex the path is. We try to use this set of information to track it and also try to implement this kind of things in our model so that it can be as representative as possible. So my penultimate slide will be this. Just to say that we also use 4D, one of the new tools that we have developed in-house called skeleton. So we can put this skeleton attributes on our 4D, and it also helps us track the path where the water is connected between different reservoir levels. And we also use that information now to do some kind of random lines to see this kind of connection. So here you can see, I show the upper and the mid-low. You can see the water is staying in the mid-lows here. And across this fault, rather than continue the mid-low, it goes into the upper. And you can see how we have tracked in this. So you can go from mid-low to mid-low and mid-low into upper because the fault throws the upper in right in front of the mid-low. We also have the opportunity here to see that we have superposition or two loops of the water anomaly, which helps or which gives us a lot more confidence to say, yes, this is really in the upper and this is in the mid-low. So there's a lot of information we grab from this 4D, and we have really used it over the years in developing the Akpo field. So in conclusion, and I hope I kept on time. So we would like to conclude by saying 4D is very crucial in field development. We encourage you to plan for this when you are designing your field developments. It could be expensive, yes, but the valuable information you can get from it is unbelievable. You can imagine drilling 10 infill wells. It means, as of today, I can tell you that those infill wells contribute almost 50% of the well of the field potential today. So it means that if the field was say doing if the field is doing 50,000 barrels of oil today, if you really drill those wells, you will be 25. And what more can you ask for in this kind of high oil price regime? So it's important for you to plan with that. And you can see that with the aid of 4D, we can plant our wells well and we can track our super efficiency. And we show you reservoir levels where we have even higher than 60% super efficiency in water injection fields. We have used it successfully completing water shut-off operations. So we have about 2 or 3 examples here. Even I just showed one in the field. We have about 2 or 3 examples in the field, but I showed only one. We do a lot of geology, geophysics, and reservoir engineering synthesis, and 4D helps us in putting a lot of information on the table and incorporating a lot of heterogeneity into our static models and dynamic models. Yes, like I mentioned, it has helped us in proposing several infill wells. Sometimes we have drilled some of those wells blindly, and when we do the 4D, we get justifications for putting those wells where they are. And also, it has helped us in cancelling several infill proposals. And hence, I would like to underscore this one, saved a lot of money. A deep water well today is in the neighborhood $7 to $18 million, and you can imagine spending $7 to $18 million and you don't get a production out of it. So all thanks for you. So again, integration is very key across the different métiers, which is geology, geophysics, reservoir engineering, and we're able to capture the heterogeneities that I mentioned and implement them in our models. It's not all good stories. Like I showed you, we also had some bad experiences or some surprises. And as such, we also learned to study more. I will rest my case at this point, and I will be happy to take questions. Thank you.
All right, I think we should put our hands in. We want to appreciate you, Chukwuka, correct?
Yes, very great.
At this point, he's done so well. And I took lots of notes. I don't know about you. And I know there are lots of questions, lots of contributions at this time. You know, so a lot of uncertainties are thrown away using the 4D monitoring. So it gives you better, you know, better results. I took quite a number of notes. So at this point, I declare the floor open for questions. Please ask your questions, like I said, make suggestions and make contributions. Thank you.
Do we have
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Austin Master. Very wonderful presentation. Oh yes, okay. PM Success International training. I don't need to even be an expert to really learn a lot from your presentation. Very, very spot on. Good slides. Thank you so much. What has been the concern? The last technical meeting we had last month is costs when it comes to interpolation. You know, bringing in a lot of data, trying to get a midpoint, you know, better income source. My question is, what has been the overall costs in terms of acquiring spotty data over this time lapse period? You know, seeing you've given us the DPD per day expected from the wells and all that. So let's just have a rough overview of the cost benefits of using this technique. So if we're looking at suggesting such applications, we'll be able to have a background costs in mind.
Okay, thank you. So, you know, cost is something that's not static. We've done the baseline in 98 and done several monitors over the years, 4 monitors to be precise. So the value of or the cost of the 4D has changed over time. But the last 4D that we acquired, despite the different complexities that we faced during the acquisition, because there was a drilling rig on site, some delays and obstructions, it cost something in the neighborhood of $35 to $40 million to acquire a data set. So I'm talking about acquisition, processing, and of course, version and all in cost about $35 to $40 million. Now, we want to suppose that with the benefits. If you drill the well blindly, you will spend $80 million. So just one bad well is enough to erase any benefits you can get from the 4D. Yes, okay. Say that again, please. Feel free to explain what the keys also of my company so you can explain it more well. Yes. Okay, the PLC, yes, it's $100 million. Exactly, yeah. So the PLC that I gave an example here is a risky operation. Besides the fact that it's costly, you have to stop a well and you lose the entire well. This is for a well that is producing that you probably want to rejig and increase the production from. So you can see that you eliminate that risk you eliminate that cost, and there's a lot of benefits. So if I may just throw in some light here, you can see it took about 6 years between the monitor 3 to the monitor 4. We wrote several justifications to amendments, to encourage them, to tell them of the use. And just in the year 25 points ago, we had seen almost 3 to 4 wells, of which this body has cancelled all 3 of them. Imagine that mobilize the rig and gone to field and drill all those 3 wells. That's a huge amount of wind that can go down the drain. So it's very, very useful, and the cost benefits cannot be overestimated. Thank you. Okay.
We have some questions over the All right. Okay. We have 2 questions from the Q&A session. One from
communicate with us. Right.
One from Olusegun Akimuda. He said, did you consider the impact of petroelastic modeling on the 4D signals? And how has the study improved the reservoir simulation model? Thank you.
Yes, we do. So we do petroelastic models, and we actually have a dedicated petroelastic model called 4D. So a petroelastic model that is dedicated to 4D. And we use this to do a lot of, forward modeling. Basically, for example, you could imagine that we want to know by what time we will be seeing our 4D response. Because the dates you see that we acquire this 4D data set is not by fluke. It goes with a lot of forward modeling and forward thinking. And we recognize that we needed at least 3 years of production. In fact, actually, it was 2 years of production that the model had told us for the first monitor. But of course, all the challenges, contractual issues, and all those kind of things, we were not able to meet those time, but we were able to do it by the 10th year. And you can see that from the first monitor, which was done 3 years after first oil, we were able to see good 4D signals. And every other repeated monitor that we have done 3 years apart from that show more information in terms of growth of the 4D anomalies that we had identified from monitor 1 and up until monitor 4. So that is very useful for us to consider for the events.
Okay, thank you. The next is from Julius Addition. So good afternoon, everyone. Many thanks for the detailed presentation. At what time of the field life cycle should one go for the 4D campaign? Secondly, as an addendum, would you please share how the issues of repeatability were managed for the case study presented? Thank you.
Okay, so I think the first one was what time, right?
At what time of the field life cycle?
So even from the onset, even before we went into drill the first development well, it had been something we had considered in the beginning. So you don't wake up with 4D. All the pen and all those things have been in concept from the beginning, even before we drilled our first development well. So mind you, it's about say 2-3 years to drill all the wells you need to start up the field to get your first oil. So those things were already considerations. Contractors were being shortlisted or pre-qualified and all that kind of stuff. And based on the we said, okay, we need to do this as year 2. We really realized that year 2 and by year 3 we did it. So the short answer to that question is it's something you have to consider way before you even produce the first oil from that field. So what's the next question?
So another thing, share how the issues of repeatability were managed for the case study presented.
Okay. Okay, so repeatability is very key, and you can see that in monitor 1, we didn't have undershoot. The reason for that was we're trying to save cost, and we felt we could try to run this or win this basically without an undershoot. And you could see that the quality of the data was not so great because it means you really couldn't have good repeatability. So going past that, we've also ensured that we design good acquisitions that will mean very little deviation from the original position. So there's this thing that we track, we call it the SDR. So basically the delta in the positioning of the source and positioning of the receivers for the different surveys. We try to ensure we minimize that as much as possible. So it's something that we do while this is part of the onboard QCs that we do. And many times when we see that there's a big deviation in terms of stability, we go back and retrieve those ones. So there's a lot of onboard QC that we do while we are acquiring data, and we ensure that we get as close as possible to the spec that we want, so that we don't need to do so much in terms of presentation.
Okay, the next is excellent presentation. For the seismic acquisition of the different monitors, did you the same type of acquisition technology? Did you use the same type of acquisition technology against? If not, what were your experience processing the data to ensure that you can trust your monitor data for the effects?
Yes, we kept our repeatability same. So, for example, like I said, even before we started the field, we took the pain to do an undershoot because we knew we were going to have an FPSO on the field. And if you didn't do that undershoot on the base before production, it means that you wouldn't be able to repeat that area. So that every other monitor that came afterwards, we had to do the undershoot as alongside the normal single vessel operations. And we have basically kept the spec of the application safe and also kept the processing flow safe over time.
Okay. The next is, are there other similar applications in other areas with similar results? What are the common risks of utilizing the 4D?
Yes, we have deployed this in several fields within the company. In the JV, we have this, for example, in Off-on field, we have 4D. In our sister field, in Gina, we have 4D. I don't see any risk here. Instead, I see more benefits. I would say 4D is more beneficial. The amount of money you spend for it comes to nothing when you need to yield the benefits of the 4D.
Okay. Acquiring seismic data is very expensive. Why did you acquire 4D regular intervals? 12 to 15, 12, 18, and 14 at regular intervals?
Yes. So,
any explanation to them?
Yes. So, based on our campaigns or the way we had developed the field, you will recognize that we did a certain number of field wells come on by first oil, and many times the wells that feed into the first oil are easy picking wells. You go ahead and when you have a load, put a well there, begin once. It gets to a point where it becomes a bit more challenging to put wells. We know they are part of the everyday wells, and you can see that we would have designed the quality to have come before those wells, such that we don't go in 90. We use the 4D now to plan those other everyday wells. So now, of course, we have used the 4D to plan all everyday wells. Everyday wells are all in place. And we keep monitoring over time and see areas where we have good sweep, where we have low sweep, where we have bypass oil. And as a result of that, we go in with more infill wells. So you can see that we have timed it in such a way that it's able to give us information to complete the everyday wells. We've also timed it in such a way that we are able to get information to start infill campaign. And we also timed it again to ensure that we have a sweep or an effective sweep for all the reservoirs over time. So we can I said that plan for it. If you have one, probably will make a lot of mistakes, and this one has been very helpful. And all taking time. Because if you didn't come, if you came, if you give it in 26 and we wanted to put it 25, then we've not done ourselves anymore. The fact that we've done it in 2023, 24, and we have good results on the fast track as early as now, we can as well take all those results from our green states.
Okay, the last but not the least, The 4D study has wide range of applications in field with water injection as a pressure support. Can this technology be implemented in wax and foam injection field, knowing that the 4D signals are dependent on injection of production activities? Thank you.
I would say yes. Once you are able to have any fluid that is different from your reservoir fluid, because basically what we play with here is your change in impedance, and your impedance is obtained from your density and your velocity. Once you do anything to your reservoir that will alter the impedance of the reservoir, then there's going to be a default difference that you can't default difference. So if you are going to do a wire or a foam injection or what have you, once the difference in the fluid you are injecting against the fluid you are producing, then most likely you will see a default difference. But I would always advise that those things have to be tested with, say, for example, before the some kind of forward modeling before you go ahead and institute the 4D itself. So some testing and also modeling has to be done before you go ahead to do that.
Okay, back to the thank you.
Yeah, my name is Business. I'm from Global Services Limited, a processing unit. Thank you, Mr. Chukwuka, for this wonderful presentation. I think hearing and looking at all these benefits that you have derived from for the acquisition and processing, and it kind of give me joy and all the hard work and what we are putting in processing your data. It's really worthwhile. Yeah, thank you very much. My question is, one of your slides, a bit towards the end, you made mention about an attribute that you calculated in-house, whether I below skeleton attributes. So I'm so much curious about knowing more about this. What property did they estimating and what uses exactly?
Okay. Oh, thanks very much. By the way, I have to recognize why I was my senior in the MS class. So it's very well knowledgeable in the what we're talking about. Skeleton is, a lot of us probably use petrol. The similarity I would draw with it petrol is what we call untrapping petrol. So it's basically taking the backbone data set, which will be 4D or even the 3D version, and you set up a seed point and give some kind of cutoff. So basically, you set it. Let's say, for example, the 3D version, for volume of clay, you say anything below 30% is sand, and above 30% is not sand or non-reservoir, and you put a seed point at the location and say, track me everywhere within this data set that has less than 30% of big clay, and it just goes and marks it out. What that does is you might not be able to identify connection points by taking several random lines. But when you have the result of this, you are able to see the right paths to follow to connect one body or one fault to another, and it's been very excellent. So I was part of the people who tested this tool when it was developed within the company. And in that process, one of the words that I showed here was a live test case, because we did confidence in if the injector well we were hoping to use to support the producer was going to be in communication. And we ran it on the skeleton, and we're able to prove that we will get some communication. And lo and behold, to date, when we build the well and we see communication from the injector to the producer.
My name is Song Yu from OM 100 Asset, Geosciences. I used to work for Akpo Asset before. Thank you for your excellent summary of the history of 4D in Akpo. I have some comments. This 3D inversion data is you invert the 3D data or 4D baseline?
So each time you acquire a 4D, you reinterpret your baseline. So we have several reinterpretations of our baseline. So for the baseline interpretation is the baseline processing is there. Baseline was to be processed at N1, baseline was to be processed at N2, repeated at N3 and at N4.
It's 3D inversion.
Yes, yes. So in the 3D that you have reprocessed from the baseline. At the time we have this, which is probably at M2 or at M3, we have now used that to launch a 3D version.
So this image on the screen is 3D inversion data is simply inverted the 4D baseline.
Yes, so it's a 4D baseline at M3 that was used for the 3D version, yes.
And then next slide, please. You said it there, you said conducting the water shut-off without running PLP. The Akpo data is so good, and then it works very well. But the one risk is in the total group, in other case in Angola, for example, we have some general cases failed. Yeah. So the 4D signals generating gas out of the ocean, masking the water signal. So some case we don't see any water signal in some compression. But when we perform the PhD, so how many months they are so disappointing about 4D signal. 4D PhD is quite a little bit, sometimes it is.
Yes.
We have to be there, pay attention.
That's the reason why I picked out this scheme here. Besides looking at the fact that we do a fast track and a full processing route, typically what we do is just do an acquisitive inversion and go straight to interpretation, and that's it. But this problem that I talked about exists because you have casting effects from pressure, gas, and all that kind of stuff. Things jumbled up. That's why we go through the other route, which is elastic inversion route, where you are able to separate the saturation from the pressure. And I think that can help enhance the interpretability of the 4D data set. So in our own experience, we've seen good areas where it works, where this separation works, and then we try to incorporate it. And for us, it's almost like a standard now going forward. I don't know if we're going to have another 4D on Apple, but if we do, then we'll definitely have a 4D analytic equation where we can separate this phenomenon.
Also, I want to add your one of the questions from the audience online. I want to add your explanation is about the risk, for the seismic risk. Akpo reservoir case is a beautiful example. Is the very hydrocarbon is condensed gas condensate with light, and then the reservoir is not too deep, so it's an ideal candidate for 4D. Yes, but there are some risky in 4D seismic. Sometimes we say those are some big case in the world and other reservoirs like carbonate. Carbonate case, the rock frame is very rigid rock, carbonate rock. It's not like unconsolidated sandstone. So in the carbonate reservoir, it's 4D, sometimes work, sometimes not working. And also, second risk in the 4D is acquisition. Now technology is advanced very, very well between the streamer and OBN and OBC. Those kind of cases sometimes the acquisition method is different. We have some example Middle East field, carbonate field. In that case, the result baseline is OBC and molecular is OBN or different technology, or sometimes seismic geometry is different. In those kind of cases, this 4D is not working very well. So there are some risks, but we need to consider that.
Yes, thank you very much for that insight. And I think that's the reason why I said a lot of modeling has to be done prior to going to acquire it. So you might be able to check these things from the modeling in advance before you go ahead and shoot.
Take one more hand. Yes. Okay.
Dr. Ifemina, lecturer, Chivalibes. Thank you very much for the presentation and so much to learn from what you have taken us through. And you said that you have been able to use 4D application the pressure in the reservoir, also the bypass and the carbon and all that. I didn't hear you mention temperature. What about temperature factor in the reservoir and how is as to enhance production?
Not necessarily in terms of enhancing production. There are other salient phenomena that exist in 4D, but some of them override the others, or they are more dominant than the others. So in this particular case here, on the slide that I've just looked at, I want to focus on this monitor 2. And you will see that we have water, peripheral water, rising like in the reservoir. If you look in front of the injectors, maybe not very clear, when you see some very, reddish anomaly that is captured, say, in front of this RFI1. Those anomalies could be linked to the difference in the salinity of the water that you are injecting as against that of the formation water. It could also be linked to the high pressure you have on the surface just in front of the injector. And also, it will also be linked to the temperature change in the water that are putting in to the reservoir. So we don't really see a wide use and application, away from the injector wells, but right with the injector wells, you could have those kind of phenomena that could also play a role.
Is that let's see. Good round for Dr. Chukwuka. I just said thank you for. I'm always excited. Affecting the online. I'm always excited listening to stories like this, because by then it helps everybody, spectators, and the protagonists to see what actually went into making the soup everybody's really, enjoying, as the case may be. Quite a number of things to speak about, but for time I'm just going to limit it. And they're able to ask a couple of questions that, and you're able to also answer the reason why you have, longer wait time in between monitor 3 and monitor 4. Thank you for picking that up. And I'm curious about your fast track, because 4D signals can be very delicate, right? And if you don't give it the data loving care approach, you're required to do that, you may miss it. So I want to ask, the 4D signal you got at the end of fast track, looking at it, did you need to do the full process? How closely did it match the full processing signal that you got at the end of the day? Because it means a lot. And in fairness, you referred to the fact that in the scheme of things, the source of this evaluation, those engineers, they like the pushers and they trade. Yeah, I see that. Particularly pleased and also applause to you for being able to get the view, make justification to, resiliently follow through this development journey, doing first, second, third, monitor surveys for that 4D exercise. Very impressive. I'm just going to leave it there for time. Want to speak to that fast track experience?
Yes. So each time we had a fast track data sets, or what we call an early out, we make certain decisions based on that fast track. And sometimes some of them we are convinced, some of them we say we really need the full processing to confirm these things. In my own history, or what I've experienced so far, every decision we've taken based on the fast track will be correct when we match it to the full processing. So that's not to say that the full processing was not necessary. The quality of the seismic, the 4D, is always very noisy. Let me for an example here. Hold on. always very noisy and difficult to interpret. So this is an example. See how clean it is at monitor 3, and see how noisy, how many side lobes you have. You almost begin to doubt what is signal from what is noise. So it's always encouraged to keep to the scheme, and go through the whole org and get your final processing. But it's just a very quick way to make decisions way in advance, because waiting 12 months to 15 months is not luxury that anybody has.
Thank you. So you've been on the hot seat for almost an hour. We'd like to put you down to the hot seat. And I'm very grateful that I'm going to take this presentation first before you go to leave, because I know that my colleagues on there, they are hearing me now. And for the doctor who spoke, thank you for airing your voice and letting us hear your concern. Here is where it happens, and I'm encouraging you to, be consistent, coming and find a number of things we share here, very topical, very technical, and then people force you to go back to do some more research. So that's something we can really promise everyone here. And today is saying a big thank you to Chukwuka, and I'm going to hand over to the chair session to conclude. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, at this point, we want to say thank you. Can you put your hands together? It's been an amazing time. Thank you, and thank you once again. We'll let you step out of the seats. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's been an enlightening time, and I want to say thank you to all of you for your questions as well. So I'll call on the moderator at this time to take it up from here. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Chuka. Really a great presentation. All right, so now we'll take the sponsor's remark, and then we'll go to the chapter's remarks, who is also one of the sponsors. So I'd like to invite Mr. Shea Pregene to speak on behalf of the sponsors, TotalEnergies.
Good afternoon, everyone, both here and online. I stand on the existing protocols. I would like to say thank you to Chukwuka for such an invitation, just to showcase the level of technical work, or technical excellence that is evident in Total. I'm a little biased because me and Chukwuka started off in Total at about the same time, so I kind of think very well, and I'm not surprised at the level of skill and the technical depth that it gives, not only during the presentation, but also to the questions that were asked. We in TotalEnergies are glad that we are able to showcase this, at least as our way of sharing knowledge and promoting innovation and thoughts from others in the industry, and also from those who partner with us to work, like who works, for example. And we are glad to be able to do this. And for sure, I know over the coming years, we keep this partnership with NAPI, who those of us who work on TotalEnergies are members of, and we regularly participate. We will not to drag this on. I'm not one for making long speeches. I would like to say thank you, and thank you also to the chairman and the chapter and coordinator for giving us this opportunity. And I do wish you all a lovely and good afternoon. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Shea, for getting on behalf of the sponsors. I'd like to invite the representative of Sharpshooters, also one of the sponsors here. So if you know you didn't get your headshot, you still have a chance to do so.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, my name is Oliver from Sharpshooters, and Sharpshooters has been with NAPI for a year now, and it has been a wonderful experience. And even me, as having an economics background, I've learned a lot. And so I was sponsoring the photography and extra time, but soon I'm not gotten an extra, can easily go back and take it for free, and we're going to send it to your WhatsApp number. And also, CHIZEA is more than photography or videography company. We also do branding, we do anything that has to do with media, because we believe now we should focus on oil, and that's why we will take care of anything that has to do with media. And we are welcoming B2B collaboration and B2C. We have seen B2C collaboration from members of NAPI, and we're looking for order for more. And also, we are running like a free and like a discounted enlargement offer for NAPI. So if you like your portrait, we can do an enlargement for you. And also, at the end, it's going to an end. If you need calendar, if you need any branded item, if it's small, if it's 10, anything that has to do, even corporate or individual, we are also available to do that. So thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, CHIZEA, for your remarks. So I'd like to invite once again the coordinator by chapter with the chairman who will present something to the speaker before we take the final announcements and AOB. We're about coming to the end. In a few minutes will be done, so just give us a few minutes. So Mr. Chukwuka, you moderize, and I'll leave the floor for
Shooter, you took longer than you were going to pay. Maybe he sees an opportunity to really sell himself. Amazing, amazing. Today, we, as always, we like to appreciate both the presenter, because always a lot of effort for people to thank you for people to make our time and prepare these materials to come here and then stand here to be challenged. I mean, you can be asking yourself, who sent me, that kind of stuff. But thank you for contributing, and also we'd like to also see the opportunity to really make a presentation to the sponsors. We are always grateful. So everybody can sponsor. Who welcome looking up to sponsor? Oh yeah, next year, and everybody. So we'd like to. I'm going to call on the shopper's navigation to present the speakers. Glad to on behalf of the.
So on behalf of the Nigerian Association of Petroleum Explorationists, Los Santos, we want to present this tag to you, this play, to say thank you for the thanks. Yeah.
No, just all you needed to say.
I think I'm back to yeah, thank you very much for this opportunity. It's always a pleasure to come to Nigeria, to nice us by give us Lapse. So this will promise go to my desk from tomorrow. And, I would like to share what happened, experience I had before this. This one said was who sent me. So last weekend, I was still lying in bed at about 9 a.m. and somebody sent me the flyer, and I had not even done one slide. I had to jump out of bed and walk all through the weekend to put this together. And I'll say thanks for that motivation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. While you're standing there too, can I direct for Total sponsors? Give you a hand as it comes. And correct me, Honorable, if I'm wrong. I think it's only in Napi Product chapter that we give it type of plans. No backlog. No, no power venture. We give you back. So next time you get more morale to sponsor. So on behalf of Nigerian Association of Petroleum Explorationists, I'd like to say thank you for doing it this time around. It was a long journey. I don't want to tell them the journey and the story. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate it. So thanks for you. And yeah. So we can now take a conversation and it's called. If I even call you, you can take the kingdom by. Yeah. See, someone leader, you start somebody forget to be discovered. All right, thank you. So it's back to you, right?
Yes, GS. Slide that.
Okay, thank you once again for your time. This control will quickly run through a few of the announcements we have before we call it a wrap. That's how the while we wait for the announcements. Just immediately after the announcement and the closing, we have some, as mentioned earlier by our coordinator, some refreshment behind you. Please feel free to get yourself refreshed. Don't go home empty stomach. Courtesy of Total, we have some things that are edible for you. Thank you. Okay. Before the presentation we just listened to, okay, next please. As you're aware, don't forget that we have our NAPIC annual conference coming up by 10th to 14th November. And I mean, the time is already here with us. So if you've not registered and not by now, you should be planning to do so as soon as possible. Next, please. Okay, still on the conference about next, please. All right. This should have been closed by now. This is all for abstracts. As closed. These are for people who have some presentations to make for us. We have technical presentations during the annual conferences. So if you are planned to make one, by now you should have submitted your papers because I'm sure the editor-in-chief and the team and the committee are already on the process of reviewing those papers and getting them approved. So if you submitted your paper, you should be receiving your emails anytime from now on the confirmation. Again, during the annual conferences, we have exhibition spaces for companies that wants to showcase some of the technologies and innovations and breakthroughs, just as we've heard from the Akpo progress, that we want to showcase those during the annual conferences, and they have opportunities via the exhibition spaces to do so at their start and equally during the presentation list. Again, don't forget that the only way we can have this association running is by we as members subscribing to membership. So as a member of the association, please do well to renew your membership. It's just a token, and I think this is one of the affordable fees or dues you can have around 1,000 per month. It's not something, I mean, we can close our eyes and do that as an active member, 12,000 monthly, annually, sorry. And then students will have 2,000, corporate will have 50,000. So do well to subscribe your membership and renew your membership with the association so that the association will run effectively. Here is the bank details in case if you've not done so, please, as soon as possible. Thank you. Next. All right, this is to remind us again, just as the coordinator has emphasized earlier, things like this, every technical section requires sponsors, and courtesy of our sponsors, we are able to come together to continue our educational programs. Some of us, as attested by even those who are not part of us as geoscientists, today confirm that they have learned a lot during the technical session. So I'm normally saying we shouldn't miss this type of opportunities, and kudos to our sponsors. Please, it's a call for more sponsors. So we're expecting more companies to identify with the protocol chapter by next year, because today we will end our technical presentation for this year. We'll open sometime next year, and we hope to collaborate with you as we make more presentations next year. Again, as you are aware, annually, NAPI elects the executive committee, and that process is actually ongoing at the moment. So if you've not exercised your franchise, please, as a member, do well to log into your portal and do so. We're going to reflect on some of the candidates here so that you can be able to, make the right choices. Going for the office of the president-elect is one of us, Mrs. Olajumeke Ajayi, the managing director in Geosciences. For the office of the general secretary, we have Dr. Christopher Jackson. We end the Westin. For the office of the financial secretary, we have Mrs. Abidemi Belgo. For publicity secretary, we have Mrs. Somia Oguntola. And then for the office of treasurer, we have two candidates. We have Mr. Emeka Ezekwedu of Slumbeje and Dr. Okainde of Shell Petroleum. For the editor-in-chief, for those of us that was earlier on, our coordinator did recognize that the fact that one of our own, who is an incumbent, is qualifying for a continuation in the person of Dr. Adekunle Nze. Please give us a wave so that we can. Thank you very much. And we only have Mr. Oluseyi Ekon of Chevron for the office of editor-in-chief. Then for the office of assistant general secretary, we have Mr. Lucky Wu of the Basement Nigeria Limited. We have Mrs. Onome Jonathan Olarutimi of Cyber Crescent and Dr. Akpo Oluwadana of Jackson University. For the office of the assistant editor-in-chief, we have Mr. Oba Nuku of Chevron and Mr. Lawrence Ibrahim Don of Ministry of Petroleum. Okay, that will be for the contestants. Again, as we are aware, the exhibition spaces this year, the last time we checked, we've had 100% subscription. What that means is that all the spaces for exhibition this year during the other conference has already been taken. But we're going to skip through our sponsors so that we know truly how well and how beautiful it is to have them in our midst. We have the ENI, we have the first EMP, we have Hayes Energy, we have Andy Western, we have Cross, we have Shell, we have Seplat, we have Amni, we have Aradel, we have Chevron, NDPRC, thank you. We have the platform, NNPC, the Future Concern Group, we have the FHN, we have the Ingentia, we have the PIGL, Local Strength, Petrodata, West African Restoration, Danvik, Bulwark, and so many others. Thank you very much for your time, and we do hope you have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you.
Please say hello to the open comments.
All right, we've come to the very end of today's technical meeting on September, the last for the year. We can do it, put a round of applause for ourselves. So I think we also need to appreciate our chapter coordinator. I did that on the personal note. It's quite energetic. That's what I had to get out to our chapter coordinator. We really like to appreciate all our online participants over this month and for all those today. We had at a point over 63% online. Let's put our hands together for them. There's certainly all of you here, well-dressed, beautiful faces. Please put your hands together for yourself. I think it has been a great time today. So on this note, we bring this meeting to a close. None other than the legendary person who will come up there. Call him legendary. Pastor Amo, as he closes this meeting for us, he put your hands well for our legendary Oga Amo.
Yes, good afternoon all again. I must lend my voice to say thank you to Total. Like I said on the sideline there, any year Shell dares to do 2 meetings, Total will also do 2 meetings. I'm sure next year Shell would like to do 2 meetings and Total will follow suit. They will do 2 meetings for Harcourt chapter. To everyone here, thank you. Let's rise and just thank God for the privilege that He has given us together. Want to sincerely appreciate you, Lord. Thank you for this gathering. For the year 2024, we ask that you lead us truly to the end of the year in Jesus' name and begin with us afresh in January. Make Port Harcourt chapter really big, make it the best of chapters in all the chapters of the association, and we shall return all the glory to you alone. Thank you, our Father, in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.